Hey, it's Jim Norton. This week of the Jim Norton Show was pre-taped. We were going to do all pre-taped shows until we realized we can go live. This is with my pal Al Jackson and my co-host Bobby Kelly. We taped this after the first week when Amy didn't show up. This was supposed to be the second week show, but then we went live on the second week. But now I'm away this week, so now we're going to play the Al Jackson one that was supposed to be. We didn't want to cut it up and take out all the Amy references because that would be fucking awkward and stupid. So what you're listening to was meant to be the second week of the Jim Norton Show. However, now it's not. So enjoy. Oh, hey, everyone. This is Jim Norton, week 2 of the Jim Norton Show. Lucky you. So those of you that fucking hated it, we're back here on Raw Dog, which is, of course, Sirius 104, XM 150. Some of you know me from the Opie and Anthony Show, which is on Monday through Friday on XM 202. I say some like anyone from anywhere else would tune into this shit. It's all Opie and Anthony fans who love me and kind of want to watch me fall on my fucking fat face. And our guest this week is a buddy of mine for a long time. He's worked with me many times on the road, who I spoke about last week, Al Jackson, because Amy Schumer kind of didn't show up last week. Is that microphone on?
No, it's not on. No, the microphone's not on. Week 2, but it's all right. That's
could you yell out the door for this guy to come back, Bob? And just, this is where we're at right now. First week, Amy doesn't show up. And the second week, Al's mic is not on. And I don't know how. I'm sitting in front of a fucking board. I have no idea. You can just talk to Bobby's for a minute, because Bobby is running for the first time in 8 years.
I don't even know where he is.
He's gone. All right, I don't know where he is.
So, get over here, dude.
Yeah, maybe you guys can share a mic, like the fucking the electric company mouths.
We really are.
Good show.
Well, we got the world action and shit going on.
Yeah, this is really... all right, so week 2, the problem is the comedian's here. There's nothing for him to talk into. Fucking stinks.
But no, there's 9 microphones. You just have 2 turned on.
Dude, I don't know how... I'm sitting in front of this fucking board. It's like being
You've been in radio for, say, 7 years.
I've never sat in front of a...
keypad.
Dude, I don't know what to do. I'm looking at anyone that knows... There's a bunch of buttons, and I know I'm going to push one, and the fucking windows are going to blow out.
Well, Bobby's a tech guy. You can knock
He's not
out.
a tech guy. He knows how to fucking operate an iPhone.
It says it right here.
No, it doesn't. See, he just said... This is what he said. It says it right...
It says it.
Talking to the mic.
Mic check 1, 2.
No,
That's the mic you're on, Al. It's supposed to work. Here he comes.
Is that on now?
Here comes the guy. Can you hear me?
Bob wants to fix it so bad.
Is it on?
No!
Really?
Can we bring this fucking guy? Sir, we don't know how to turn Al's mic on. So week 2, we have the comedian, but there's no mic for Al.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. This one's finally not my fault. The first was my fault. So we're okay. We're making do. We're just humiliating ourselves on the radio. So how does Al...
Al's on. Was that right?
Am I on now?
No, you were fucking completely on the wrong side of the board.
Well, don't get mad at me. I'm not a radio guy. You're on a radio show 5 days a week. I'm on twice a month, maybe.
I know, but I've
You're
never...
on 1 twice a month.
There you go.
I hear you.
You sound fine.
I hear
So what's
you,
up,
Angel.
Al? How are you?
Yo, I'm chilling, man. How y'all fellas doing?
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for coming, man. And thanks for...
Well, I showed up, so I'm already beating Amy.
Yeah, you really are. Al's a funny guy. We've toured together many times. If anyone saw me shoot my HBO special, Al was the guy that kind of warmed up the crowd.
Yeah, man. You killed it.
Yeah, it was decent.
Yeah, man.
So how long have you been doing stand-up, Al? A lot of people don't know you, and they should.
I've been doing it 6 years now. So, six long years, but it's been good, professionally at least. You know what I'm saying?
I actually saw Al. Where did I see you? You came in and did a guest spot somewhere. Where
Probably
was it?
years ago in Miami.
No, it was just a couple months ago when we were at, I was at a Funny Bone or something, Columbus, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I'm in Columbus, right? That's where you're from?
Yeah, my family's from Cleveland, so I was right up the street.
So I'm literally there. He comes in. He's on vacation. This is what a comic he is. This is the disease of comedy. He's finally got a night where he can spend with his family and not do comedy and hang out. He comes down on my show to do a guest spot. Like, he needs a guest spot. Like, he can't be home and look his family in the eye and have conversation and be emotional or enjoy, maybe a barbecue and some regular human being talk. He has to go to find a comedy club and jump on and do a guest spot.
Waste the day with no comedy.
To get your accolades.
I just, I think I was actually trying to do like bang out like a 5-minute spot for Kimmel or something like that, trying to get that ready.
Name dropper.
No, well, you see, I didn't get it. So
You didn't?
I don't know.
How could you not, working out in places like the Columbus Funny Bone? How could that not have worked out? So what happened? You auditioned and it didn't happen?
I just submitted a tape, so I don't even know.
Have you done any TV yet?
Yeah, I've done a decent amount. I actually just taped that show for MTV. I taped MTV Made Have you seen that? I would
No,
think you've
what is
seen
it
that.
about?
Where the kid-
M-A-I-D?
M-A-D-E.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where the
Big difference.
I know what you're talking about. Actually, it's one of the shows on MTV that actually is. I don't mind because they do try to help out.
Yeah.
They'll get like a fat gay kid and
Yeah.
try to help him play
And
football
slap him and put his face in a pussy and say, do a sit-up. That's how they help him. Eat a pussy and do crunches. Wait, we've been talking for a little while. Last week I fucking talked way too long front, so we have to break it up with just clips, and we come back and we talk to Al. We're going to let Al pick the first clip, because I know Al is... what clip did you want to hear?
One of my favorite clips all time, Chris Rock, Niggas versus Black People. Best one.
Chris Rock fucking might be the funniest guy working today.
Very funny guy.
All right, so we'll be back in a couple of minutes. You're listening to The Jim Norton Show. All right, thanks. You're listening to The Jim Norton Show on Raw Dog. I'm so sick of saying my own fucking name. Sirius 104 XM 150. And we're here hanging out with Al Jax. So what were we talking about before we went? You completely detaching from anything, loving in your family?
Yeah, I'm working. I'm a good family dude, but it's fucking hard, man. I'm just, it's how are you doing with the marriage? I'm cool with the marriage, but just I feel like
I forgot that you're married.
I just feel like you're cheating on your wife with comedy and vice versa. I don't know. I'm just so involved. It's hard to think about anything else.
By the way, if
honestly.
Al had said, I'm married to the lady comedy, I was going to fucking throw a Molotov cocktail at him. I heard a comic say that one time, and you ever been so embarrassed for somebody, you just want to fucking crawl into something that you'd crawl into if you were embarrassed?
When you see the comic
Improv skills, Jim. what happens to me? I'm on a mic and I turn into an autistic. Do you ever want to crawl into a, crawlable thing? Boo! Fuck. Sorry, go ahead, Al. Apologize.
No, it's just as embarrassing as when you see a comic with like some kind of comic tattoo on them, and it's like, sir, we get it.
The worst thing I ever heard. I heard. What was it? There was a bunch of newer comics at the Cellar one night at the table, like the up and comers, and they were talking about how they were just so pissed off that the crowds don't get them, and one of them said the art of comedy, the art of what we do, man, is at stake, and I almost just shit on the table and slapped their faces with it.
Exactly. Look, comedy's an art form, but you don't say that to other people.
Yeah, you've been doing it 3 years, asshole.
Yeah.
Just saw me at a college a couple years ago, and you were nobody.
It's unbelievable. Just like I just feel like a lot of comics forget that you're entertaining regular folks. You got to make electricians laugh, and they come out to shows too. It's not just like some kind of like artsy NYU crowd. Like sometimes you got to make regular fucking people laugh. I'm cool with that.
I've always done well with the crowds I've seen you in front of, and they're not easy crowds at all. They're animals, and they love you. But I'm sure that what is your worst bombing experience that you can remember? Because I know you've eaten your balls many times, like all of us have.
Yeah, it's weird. When I first started coming up, I was doing urban rooms in Miami, and those it's weird. I have a strange experience with black crowds because of the way I talk, and I'm not going to come out, "What's up, motherfucker?" I'm not doing it. So they a lot of times they'll get on me early, and I've had to learn to get my jokes out quick.
Right.
Because I've seen white comics go up and they get a much bigger break up front than I do because they're like, "Oh, clap it up, this crazy white boy's out here." But if I come up there, they're like, "This dude, really?" So I've had
black crowds are actually a little bit more lenient on white comics than they are on black comics.
Yeah, you have no shot trying to do the Apollo as an unknown black comic, during their amateur night. But the white guy, they'd be like, "Oh, look, he's a goofy white guy, and he's gonna address it with his first joke."
Yeah,
he showed up, and it's a bigger, and I guess black guys, if you choose to pander to white crowd, you can kind of get that break as well. I'm the only, I ain't seen this many white people since my arraignment.
Yeah,
whatever.
Only chip in the cookie.
Yeah, that kind of shit. So I guess it goes both ways, but I bombed at a black college because it's weird. You would never think, but FAU, Florida Atlantic University, it's in Boca Raton, Florida, is a black. Have you done that room?
I've done it 4 times.
It is. I pulled up. There were like 4 Escalades. Back open, weed smoke billowing out of the back. This is a college show, bass bumping. I mean, it is an urban room, and like I was eating it until I just started doing crowd work because that's all young kids
Were
get.
you by yourself, by the way?
No, there was a super urban guy that opened up for me, and he was straight from Miami, and they booed him off stage, and I would say 9 minutes.
Oh, really?
He's supposed to do 30. He's off at 9, and they're just like, "Can you do like 55?" I was like, "Excuse, the fuck." You know,
Right.
but yeah, and I was eating it, straight up eating it for the first 10 minutes, and I started doing crowd work, and, you know, there was like one white guy there, and I brought him on stage with a black girl, and like the crowd loved it, and I just made some bullshit up.
Right.
But my bits weren't working at all.
I wonder if there's ever a time, because, you know, as a comic, the thing that fucks us in a situation like that, because I've been there.
Yeah.
I did Frosty booked me at a black underground club at Buffalo, New York. And it was literally looked like a rundown gas station,
Yeah.
and that night it turned into a nightclub.
Yeah.
And I got... The guy who went up before me killed and knew everybody in the crowd. I went up and bombed, and I almost got hurt. Almost hurt. And the people that ran it were literally pimps and drug dealers.
Yeah.
And it was bad. I've had those situations. But I wonder if there's ever a comic that if your comic ego didn't get in the way, if you just said, fuck, I'm going to do my time, and I'm going to stink, and I'm just going to keep going, and you can boo.
Well, yes. But I want to tell the rest of that story because... This is what annoyed me about. I know the story Bobby's talking about, and the other comedians should always kind of fucking hang with you a little bit because they know what's going on with an audience. But this cocksucker left you hanging. He bonded with people over he was a black guy and they were black instead of like, hey, this comic's kind of getting fucked over by this crowd.
He was mad. This is what he said to me. He was mad that the club owner kept bringing guys up from New York instead of giving him and the comics around there a break to make some cash and to headline. And he kept saying, yo, man, I should be headlining here, man, before the show. So he went up and tried to bury me. And then when he did, he went back up after and started trashing me from the stage. Right. And then a big black guy, this big, oh my God, he came up with a microphone and goes, yo, you got to go up on stage and defend yourself. I was like, I'm cool. I'm cool. And he was like, you have to. He grabbed me by like the nape of my neck and kind of forced me up to the stage. And this guy was like, yo, fuck that, man. Don't do that. Don't let him up here, mother. You're my friend, mother. Fuck that. Because he was a little nervous that if I did get up there with a mic, I might catch him.
Dude, there's nothing. He exactly like he knows you're a comic, and it's like a fucking a shitty hitter can homer off a fucking great pitcher, and he might have been afraid that even in that bad night you would have humiliated him.
Yeah, he wouldn't let me on stage, and then I had to sit in the club for the next 2.5 hours because they didn't want to didn't want to give me a ride. And the guy, I go, can I please get a ride back? And he finally threw the keys to his huge truck to his 12-year-old nephew, who drove me, not joking, who drove me back to the hotel. I took the money that was all in cash, and I literally put it in every orifice I could, in my ass, my socks, my shoes. And I went to the train station 4.5 hours early and hid between a Coke machine and a fountain.
It's always a safe place. Up in fucking Utica, New York, fucking train station. All right, look, we got a clip. We're talking about black comics and black rooms, and I think the king of the urban rooms was obviously Mitch Hedberg. I'm kidding. I'm fucking kidding.
Stunned silence.
Yeah, an oddly brilliant guy who died of a heroin overdose. Everybody knows that. I'm telling you who Mitch Hedberg was. It's a Comedy Channel. Fuck me in the face.
Yeah, but most people don't know that Mitch Hedberg bombed on his special. The special that made him famous, the half-hour special, he bombed. He's lying down on the stairs because he's tanking. He not one laugh. Comedy Central went back in and fucking sweetened it with other laughs from other comedians.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So the special you see him on, what made him famous, he bombed.
I don't know what clip they're going to play, but I said I wanted them to play, or actually Bobby said a Mitch Hedberg clip. So whatever clip they play, I mean, Mitch is a great comedian. So here's Mitch Hedberg. We'll be back in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. This is Jim Norton hosting the Jim Norton Show.
Welcome back. What, did you get a book on how to run a radio show?
I did.
Welcome back.
What are you supposed to say?
Hey, what's up? I don't know.
I should have actually just fucking come out and said, and so that's what he told me. Like they missed a big story. But they wouldn't see the irony in that. They'd go, Jim's a fucking fat neck twat. So Raw Dog, Sirius 105, XM 150, and I've been told I have to keep reintroducing everybody because I forget to do that because it really is all about me. So Bob Kelly is co-hosting many of these shows with me, is here, and Al Jackson is our guest. This is our first official guest because Amy Schumer, again, whatever.
I'll take the default. I got it.
Yes, you are our first guest. So what we were talking about before we went and played the Hedberg clip, we were talking about black rooms, and we've all, I bombed in a black room one time. It was in East Orange, New Jersey, and it was right after the Rodney King beating.
Jesus.
And I remember Ari Spears was on that night. Bill Bellamy was hosting the show.
Yeah.
And it was called Club 88. And back then I was a high energy guy. I used to wear like these big baggy purple pants. How you doing? You know, I was shitty.
I think I remember you showed me the video of that.
Not from that night. So I go on, I bomb my fucking balls off. I mean, I didn't feel threatened. The crowd wasn't aggressive. There was a fucking unfunny white kid, and that's what I felt like.
Yeah.
So I slinked off. Ari Spears, who I knew from my hometown, I remember his mother used to bring him to gigs.
Very funny
when
guy.
He was a kid, because he couldn't get in. He was like 14 or whatever, and he even ignored me that night. And then Bob Levy went on. And Bob Levy, a lot of you guys know from Stern. He's been on Opie and Anthony. Very funny / self-destructive fucking animal he is. And he power drinks. And so Bob is killing, because Bobby does crowd work really well. And then a black cop walked in, and Bobby goes, "Oh, a black cop, why don't you club yourself?" And it didn't do too well, considering Rodney King was still being shown nightly. And then it got really ugly, and Bob proceeded to bomb his fucking white Jewish balls off. So I felt, believe me, I wanted him to bomb. I was so annoyed that he was killing, because I knew the whole ride home he'd have to go, "Yeah, I thought they really liked me."
And Jim, you can really appreciate this, man. It's just hit me another bombing. Black Room recently. I was at Comics. And I did their Tuesday night Don't Get Gas Cypher Sound show.
Wait, there's a Tuesday night black show here in New York?
Yeah, in New York on 14th and 9th at Comics.
I didn't know that, okay.
And I'm doing the show, and in the audience is 3 guys from The Wire are in the audience.
Oh, whoa.
It was...
Clock.
It was Bubs was there.
Bubs, I love Bubs.
Bubs is fucking...
the bum.
Yeah,
the crack addict.
Yeah, Bunny Colvin, and... I forgot the other. I think the other person had a much smaller role. I didn't even see them. They just told me that they were there. So I just wanted to go out and entertain. They've given me so much entertainment.
Yes.
I wanted to go out and kill. The guy before me went up, killed, and they brought right before that break. I'm about to go through the curtain. Somebody was like, "Oh, DJ so and so's here," and some thug in the audience goes, "Stop!" He said something like, "Stop being a dick rider. Stop being a groupie or something." And the MC of the show was like, "What the fuck you say, nigga? What?" And there's almost a fight in the showroom. Yeah. And they're
Wait a minute, you're telling us that at a black comedy club on a black night there was almost a fight?
Come on.
Get the bullshit.
Lie.
So I tells the guy, I'm like, Comedy Central or whatever my intro was. He goes, "Yeah, this next guy's from Cleveland." Done. I was done. It's all cats from Brooklyn, I was done.
But for a comic, again, to throw you under the fucking bus like that.
And that's what urban shows do. Dude, I came up in Miami, and the urban show there, the guy that runs that show, his job is to he will literally do 50 minutes up front. Literally 50 minutes. And just like bring you up to, all right, this guy's, where's he from again? Okay. All right, this guy's from Jersey. Whatever. Show him some love. And just just throw you under the bus, and it sucks, man. It shouldn't be like that.
We did a show at Delhi, which is Delhi College up with Marty, who I love. I do it once a year, but it's black. It's kind of an urban school.
Mm-hmm.
It's up
black
in the middle.
school. It's more of a black crowd than a white crowd. It's not 100%, but I'd say 60-40 black and white.
But it's in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, nowhere. So I've been up there before, and I've killed.
Yeah.
I've always in the middle spot, and I headlined once, and I always killed where the guy would always bring back. So they bring me back with Norton. I'm so cocky. Which is you can't do that with a black crowd. You can't get cocky. I went up and I said something to the black girl in the front row. Didn't go over well. I proceeded to bomb.
Do you
for
remember
the next
what you
half
said
hour.
to her?
I forget. I forget what it was. I don't know. It was just she didn't want me talking to her.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the mojo that night. And I
pointed
bombed.
at your dick and said something about Thomas Jefferson.
That was it. And then he's going up after me. So in my head, I'm like, look, if I bombed, he's going to have a hard time too, which in some ways gives you a comic. It makes you comfortable. At least he killed like I've never. He just annihilated.
Yeah.
Oh, they loved him. Loved him.
Dude, let me tell you something. If I bomb, I want everybody else on the show fucking dead. I tell the audience once in a while, like at the cellar, like if you see a fucking comedian eat his balls, and there's one person laughing, chances are that's the next act. Nothing makes us happier than to watch each other fucking shit. Like when we would do the road together, I want to see Al do very well. I don't want to see him bomb for real, because then it hurts the show. And it's like, it doesn't make me look better for him. But when it's like we're all doing 20-minute spots, or if I bomb, I want you fucking really to fucking bomb. And the clip I want to play, we have a few minutes? Yeah. I want to play a clip from a guy who I don't know if he's ever done black rooms, but he's a guy who confronts hecklers. Like, he's broken his hand punching a heckler in the face. Brilliant fucking comic. Believe me, he's my hero, and he should be yours. Nick DiPaolo, we all know fucking Nick. And I'm not even going to choose the clip. Pick a Nick DiPaolo clip off one of his CDs. Nick is a great comic.
Hilarious.
Brilliant.
Great writer.
But also a fucking guy who will punch a heckler in the face.
Yeah.
And when he came into the cellar one night, he had a fucking cast on. I'm like, what happened? He goes, I fucking punched a heckler in the face. I'm like, you struck a blow for all of us. For all of us.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. All right, so we're back in a couple of minutes. This is the great Nick DiPaolo. I'm hanging out with Al Jackson and Bob Kelly. We're back here on Sirius 104 XM 150 Raw Dog. Jim Norton, and this is a weekly show I'm doing here on the Comedy Channel. I wanted to fucking branch out. I'm on the Opie and Anthony show, which I love every day. XM 202. For those of you familiar with the show, if not, fucking cheap bastards, get the best of XM and listen. What else are you fucking doing? And I'm here with Al Jackson, a great comic and a friend of mine, and Bob Kelly is co-hosting many of these. So we've been talking about bombing. I mean, with other comedians, that's what I like to talk about, bombing.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting. Look, again, if you don't like it, fucking email me and I won't talk about it. But I think bombing is very interesting.
I think that's what people are most curious about.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody's had a time, at least in their life, where, they've been at a party and they've had people laughing with the story that they have. But not too many people have experienced silence in a room and that anger and that disconnect when an audience fucking hates you. Like, people are curious about that. Like, what does that feel like? And you got to do your fucking time. I did a college in Long Island 2 weeks ago, and it was set up in the cafeteria at noon. Ugh. So awesome, let's do it. And kids are studying in there. So I go in there, no intro. They're just like, go up there, do your time. And I had to. You were talking about doing your time. I had to do 30 minutes. I was contractually obligated to do 30, and people are moving away to the point where, literally, if I fired a machine gun 360 degrees, I wouldn't have hit anybody.
Oh, really?
There was no one in the cafeteria, and I did my time. And people were walking up, getting ketchup and napkins and fucking going back to this. And I did my fucking time, and it was awful, and there's no laughs, but you got, it's what we do, we have to fucking do it.
Well, it's funny, too. I mean, we it is interesting to talk about the gigs you hate, but people don't realize that the gigs that have really changed your life, too, like the amazing gig. Like when I played Boston Garden with Dane on New Year's, I mean, that's my hometown. There's gigs that are amazing, too. I mean, there's gigs that have like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm here. Yeah. I like when I walked out in front of those people, because I bombed at the Garden. I have both stories.
Wow.
I bombed at the Garden when me, Dane, and we were in a comedy group, improv. And BCN, Mark Parento, right?
Yes. What a naughty boy he is. Naughty, naughty, naughty. He's in jail for fumbling with the youngsters. He's a naughty boy. Oh, Mark's a naughty boy.
Didn't he have Sony PlayStations in the car and pull up to little black boys?
He liked young black kids, yeah. And I understand he did it in D.C. when he was working for XM. Sensitive subject, apparently, but not the best place to go to jail for fumbling with young black youngsters. Naughty, naughty.
I don't think that went over too well in the county lockup.
Yeah, I doubt it. Skinny white guy. What did you do? Well, it's funny you should ask. All right, God, Bob. Sorry, I'm just here with a heart on.
So he had us do the Rock of Boston show, which the year before was in front of 300 people. This year it was at the Boston Garden in front of 14,000 people. And they put us on between Fish and the Spin Doctors to do comedy improv at the end of the night, in between the two headline bands. And we were so cocky. We were like, yeah, let's do it. Like, we're going to go, give us 3 things you hate. It was, when they started throwing shit and then singing sha-na-na-na, hey, and then I took my shirt off and grabbed the mic and gave a Martin Luther King speech about how we didn't come here to ruin your night. We know you wanted to see rock and roll. Wah. Spin Doctors. Wah. Fish. Wah. But we're going to do a little comedy before we take off. Give us 3 things that piss you off besides us. Boo!
You took your shirt off?
Took my shirt off. I was shredded back then. Took my shirt off and gave a speech. I stole every technique I saw like lead singers use at rock and roll shows, and then we left, and then they left me there in front of the garden. They were supposed to pick me up in front of the garden. They left me. They went home. So the show emptied out with all the people, and I'm out freezing in front of the garden, and people are walking by pointing at me. That's him. That's him.
As you were giving that speech, your fucking head should have blown off like in Scanners, and the guy's skull exploded. But I forgot another bad taking your shirt off story. I was doing Black History Month competition in like Red Bank, New Jersey or somewhere in 1993. I was 3 years in, and I got there, and they had dancers and comedians and singers. And I actually won a first-place trophy, but I had an orange wacky hat, and I took off my shirt, and I like ran around and acted kooky on stage. Believe me, black guys have things that make you sellouts. That made me a fucking white sellout. That was like what white guys do. We should be shot for. Do you find as a black comic too that like black audiences have different expectations of you? Like they expect you to speak a certain way or to have a certain point of view?
Yeah, well, and I'm sure you know this with some of your material. Black audiences just don't do certain subjects. Right. Black people do not do kids.
Yep.
There's no kid shit.
Pedophilia, you mean?
Yeah, pedophilia. Right. There's none of that. And it's weird. Even like when I used to get into some of my teacher stuff, which was fairly benign, like people like, why you talking about them kids, man? You know what I'm saying? But dick jokes go over. That shit would go over at a church. Black people love dick jokes, dude. Love them. Do you disagree?
I think black crowds just get funny. I mean, you know, white crowds were so uptight. You know, a lot of them are like, I remember I did Nashville, and I was doing some jokes, and at one point I was just like, am I in the Bible Belt?
Yeah.
Because every time I told a joke, I'd look out and there'd be some white lady's face going, like, oh my God. And she was like, you're in the buckle. I mean, there's just some, they're trained to that's bad. They go, ooh, we do that at the cellar sometimes. If someone's on and they get a ooh, we actually the ones who are starting it in the back.
I stole that from Jim Florentine, who's the master of it. Like, when you get fucking groaned at as a comic, I'd rather have somebody just take a shit and throw it at me like a chimp than fucking groan at me.
Yeah.
And I was in the fucking comic strip one night, and I'm bombing, and there's 3 girls in the front, and they hated me, and I could hear Florentine going, oh man, oh come on, and the audience, when one person groans, the rest of those fucking dummies go, oh. So we did it to Rich Voss at Caroline's one night. He was doing Caroline's, and of course he had the curtain closed. Not a sellout. Not a sellout. And it was, he probably had 80 people. There was a Sunday. And I was on one side of the curtain, and Jim was on the other, and we were groaning. We ruined that motherfucker's show. 45 minutes. He's like, what the fuck do you want from me? What are you groaning for? You know, with his big teeth. If you don't know Rich Voss, welcome to the fucking club. We have to have Voss on soon, too. We have to wrap up? All right. Al, do you have anything you want to promote, like a website or anything like that?
Yeah, man. Just aljacksoncomedy.com. Follow me on Twitter.
You got a CD or anything?
No.
Well, you know what?
I really am black.
Well, you have your stuff on your website, right?
Yeah, everything's on my website.
aljacksoncomedy.com. And who are you on Twitter? Al Jackson Comedy?
Al Jackson Comedy.
All right. And sorry, week 2 was a relative success, I think.
Way better than week 1.
Well, it couldn't have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been.
No, it couldn't have.
I showed up, so you got to be pretty excited about that,
right?
The
guy came in, the mic was fixed. What could have happened worse, basically? Fucking Kathy Bates breaking our fucking feet with a sledgehammer.
The producer almost quit. He was like, fuck this.
I know.
Al, in there. He actually pointed out, just go in there. Sit down.
Fucking jet black hair ran out. Jesus. That fucking hair is really nice.
He's a good-looking guy. The producer's a good-looking guy.
Like an Armenian sodomite. All right, let's close out with a clip. Bobby, you wanted to play Bill Hicks. He's a guy I'm not familiar with. Like, I mean, I know who he is, obviously, but I never listened to or studied Hicks. I mean, I just never did.
I did. Bill Hicks is he's unbelievably funny, and he just kind of goes off on tangents. And but he would bring the crowd to a screeching halt where they hated him, and then get him back, which was amazing. He did it time and time again. He'd go up and just say outrageous shit where the crowd would be like, what the fuck? And then he'd get him back whenever he wanted to.
And he was saying it in the 80s.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
It's crazy. Right. And they actually so you can play any clip from him, the Leno clip, the Suck Your Own Dick. I mean, there's so many clips that he's done, but they're all good. So we're going to play a Bill Hicks clip right now.
And I'll see you next week if they let me back in the building. I'll be here.